talk a little bit about GGM. So it was started in 1976, so we've been around for about 45 years. This right here lists what our core values are and exactly the order that we place them. So as order of precedence. So obviously the most important thing to us is our people. Without people, you have nothing. So our first one is embracing our people, and you can read right there, but we say by creating a culture inspired by transparency, trust, honesty, ethics, and leadership. And then moving down from there, we engage our business partners. So by being accountable, committed, respectful to our customers, our suppliers, and our service providers. And then supporting our community. This is a big one to us. It's very, very important to us to make sure we continue supporting our community that we all work in, whether it's by charitable donations of our time or our resources to the community that we live and work in. And then the last one is sustaining our business, and do that by following our diversification strategy to gain a business advantage while investing in our people, our business partners, and our community, sustaining the future of our company. And if you do all those things, at the end of the day, you'll make good parts on time. That's kind of our saying. Try to follow around here. If you ask anybody around here, they've heard it a million times. It sounds simple, but it's not a simple thing to do. And MachineMetrics has definitely been a huge help for us to get even better at doing that. For us, we had those same kind of questions, like when you installed MachineMetrics, did you get any resistance from I guess I would call it your seasoned employees or from any other employees about the machines being monitored? And you would think naturally that that's the way that you would go. But when you sell it to your team as a resource for them, and that's all that it's for, and if you go back to our information that we just talked about a little bit ago, just our core values, it's easy to tell our teammates exactly what we're doing with the MachineMetrics and why it's there. It's a resource for them to be able to tell us what's going on, what's holding them back from their potential that they have. And as soon as we talked about that, and we continue to preach that every day to everybody, it's made it easy. So just the current state of MachineMetrics. So this data is actually pulled from February 1 through February 28, and it says we have 42 edge devices connected, 25 tablets connected. That's actually been increased now, so we actually have 78 machines that are running tablets. So we did the first 25, and that was we picked our certain work centers that we wanted, that we thought we could learn the most from, and we did the first 25 there, and we actually had MachineMetrics come in and help us with the installs, and they were great to work with. They worked with our team members here and trained us on the things that we didn't know as far as how to install them, and helped us get up and running on that. And then from there, we put together a team that managed all of the data, collected all the data, put it into a format like you're going to see on here. And then from that data, it was pretty easy to decide when and how many more tablets to add. So it was a slam dunk for us, really. The tablets, one of the easiest things about them is that they have green and a red color on them. And what green means is that you're making whatever the standard rate is at that work center, you're making that. If it's red, you're not making that. Obviously, there's adjustments you can make in there for the different percentage up or down either way on both ends of that spectrum. But when you have a screen that's bright red or bright green, it's pretty easy to figure out that there's some sort of a problem going on. And then from the operator's standpoint, they have that tablet there, and when the machine sits for however much time that your team decides is unacceptable, the machine's going to ask the operator what is the reason for this downtime, and then you have a list of options of what to pick as causing the downtime. And then from there, that's where you really start to learn about what's going on, because you can start collecting the data and you figure out what the biggest reasons are that are causing your downtime at the machine during production runs. It can be any number of things. It can be machine breakdown. It could be just not staffed. It could be anything. So that's more or less how we use those tablets. It's the operator's resource. So on the setup summary, this is kind of just a breakdown of where we were at in February. So the first line there is showing for that month, that February 1 through 28, setups account for roughly 212 hours of non-production, with 126 setups happening on 20 different machines that the data was pulled from. The previous month, there was 215 hours and 103 occurrences. So from there you go down, and then we have an average expected setup time, which was 66 minutes per setup. The previous month, the average expected was 64 minutes per setup. The average actual was 101 versus 66. The previous month was 125 versus 64. So what you see there, the average difference between the expected and what the actual was is 35 minutes. The previous month was 65 minutes. And we've actually, since that point, every month this has went down. And we actually were able to get that down. We were within 9 minutes of the expected time last month. So we're getting really close to actually hitting the expected time. And the great part about it is obviously data is great, but if you don't do anything with the data or figure out ways to use the data, it's useless. But with this data, we were able to figure out what was causing the setups to not happen on time. So we were pretty excited to see those results happen. It's kind of funny, really. If you talk to anybody, or at least all the people I've talked to that have MachineMetrics, when they get that first report on MachineMetrics of their especially their machine utilization, it's really sickening. And I laugh about it now. You just don't realize how much extra capacity you really have. So, right now, well, this was in February, but you can see 21% of time in cycle for machines with edge device, 24% of time in cycle for machines that have a tablet out front. So when we first started on MachineMetrics, this number was more like 12%. And that maybe doesn't seem like a lot, but we've doubled that utilization, and believe it or not, now it's actually gone higher than that as well. But it is eye-opening when you see that data and you see how much potential there is there. It tells you who the number one team member was, who had the highest utilization as far as team members goes. And then from there, we actually go out and talk to that team member who had the highest utilization and try to learn exactly what they're doing to get there. What's their path to the success that they're seeing. And from there, we go out and then we coach the rest of the team on how they're able to do this and share that information. Because that's not an easy thing to figure out how to do. We didn't have a standard procedure as far as cleanup goes. And what I mean by that is we didn't have a standard procedure depending on what work center they were at. And so it was based off more of what each person individually feels is the correct amount of cleanup. And in some machines, it might be too little. Some machines might be too much. But there was no standard to follow. So from there, we were able to develop the standard of what cleanup is required at each machine and when it needs to be done. So then from there, we're able to set up a procedure. It's easier for each team member to follow it because they know what's expected. And then even on the downtime categories, the cleanup was on there. It's going to pick up the different reasons for the downtimes, and not every reason might be important to you, but you're at least going to be able to recognize it. Like you have break time as being, it's a big downtime reason. Well, you got that break, that's okay. But it at least recognizes all of those different issues, and then we even have some on there, waiting for fork truck. So that might tell us, either do you need more fork truck operators, or you need to change the route of a fork truck, just those different things. But it makes you start asking questions and looking into everything that you didn't quite look into before. So these action items were developed back in January, I think is when it was, or February. But the cold starts has been a huge initiative. We had no idea how much we were actually losing the first and last half hour of every shift that we run. And all that was we just put together a better plan so that everybody who came in for their shift knew exactly where to go, exactly what they were doing, And so there was no questions to be asked. There was no figuring out where they were supposed to be going, or what needed to be done. It was all planned. And then like the setup times, we set up what we call a pit crew. So we developed a team who's very good at doing these different setups, and then they have a schedule every day for the entire plant of what's going to be set up roughly when. And so they know exactly what's coming up, so they get everything that they need prepared, and then they just go in there, knock the setup out, leave, and it starts running. So then that reduces all those times. And there again, MachineMetrics was able to show us that we needed to do all these things, and now it's again showing us even more things that we need to do. It's never ending.